and we are Perspeculative. And today we wanted to talk to you about a Nair recommends, and that is Scissor Seven, which is a donghua. Donghua? Donghua.
It's not Japanese anime, it's Chinese anime.
Thus donghua. Still animation, though. So, starting with why I recommended it to her, besides the fact that I just really enjoyed it myself, I gave it an 8 out of 10 on MAL. I thought it was really good. I liked how it starts off kind of goofy and you don't take it too seriously, and it builds up and it introduces everyone and they keep mattering and it adds on to itself, and you never really lose anything that you have gained throughout it. And you do end up taking it seriously and get really involved and invested in the characters. And I really thought that she would enjoy it, as well as her son, which was a main reason that I suggested it, because I thought it was something all of us could watch. Although it wasn't quite appropriate for his age. I did not remember that correctly. Farce told me that it wasn't appropriate, but I did not remember it being as mature as it was.
And as far as maturity goes, it's mostly that it does use a lot of modern day cursing, dropping F-bombs, and all that stuff. So I was like, Nair, what the heck? Because normally she's very careful about what she recommends for my son. He's middle school age, so there was a little bit of that, but luckily he's a pretty mature kid, and we rolled with it. It was too late.
And there is a good bit of violence as well, so
I don't try to moderate that as much, as long as it's cartoon violence. Now, if it's very, very bad, like Demon Slayer or Baki or something like
Devil May
that.
Cry Baby.
Yeah, let's not.
Attack on Titan.
Yeah, then
We've gone over these
I'm
things.
like, okay, no, that's real mature is what I call it, and it ends up being a no for them. But they know that a lot of TV-14 stuff they can watch, and some very few rated MA, like I think Sword Art Online is MA and all that.
But back to Scissor 7, so that's why I recommended it to Bellow. What did you think about it when I first suggested it to you?
Okay, so when she first was like, yeah, let's watch this, and my son was like, oh yeah, it looks good, let's watch it, I was literally like, what is this, South Park of anime? It was like, this looks so dumb. I'm not watching this. I think I was scrolling my phone, was not paying attention at all through the first episode. And I mean, I would look up occasionally. They're very, very short episodes as well, we should mention, which I really like. What are they, 15 minutes?
Something like that, 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, so it's easy to get addicted and lose track of time with them, which is all a bad thing about it, because you can't be like, okay, I'm gonna watch one episode's an hour, and then I'm gonna go to bed. No, you're like, oh, well, I've watched 10 episodes, but I don't know how long it's been. But I kind of like that they're such short episodes as well, because you can sit down and be like, okay, I'm gonna get up and do the laundry after this episode, and 10 minutes go by. Again, I'm looking at this from the perspective of a mom who works and has to still keep a clean house and chase kids and all that good stuff. So it's nice to have something to sit down for 10-15 minutes, although it's very hard to put away and turn off.
It's good. It's good.
It is, and I am the first to say, please don't judge it by the first couple of episodes. Give it time, even if you're not one of those Rick and Morty, Family Guy type people, even if that sort of comedy, goofy, little bit of cursing and all that isn't normally your shtick, stick with it. Just
Stick with it? No.
Yeah. Stick with it through like 5 episodes, okay? And give it a really good chance, because once I got pulled into it and really started watching, and you get attached to these characters, I actually like that there is a lot of comedic relief. If you guys have been listening for a while and watched and listened to some of our other videos, you know that I watch anime and read and watch regular television, and I specifically look for things that are going to help me wind down and relax. Of course, you want to be pulled into a story, and that requires drama and action and plot and all those good things, but I tend to lean a lot more towards slice of life and isekai, stuff like that. So this isn't my normal go-to, but I actually like that it has a lot of comic relief. There's not many episodes that you go through where sort of something funny and chibi happens, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Even on the most serious episodes. And I really appreciate that in my anime. An anime that doesn't take itself too seriously.
Mm-hmm. And I was gonna say that when I first started it, I also was kind of trepidatious. I wasn't really sure how I felt about it. I thought it was really goofy, and I'm like, okay. But then I really, as I said, I got really into it. I liked it a lot. Farce and I watched the first 3 seasons. I know the 4th season's out now. We really liked it a lot. And it surprises you. It creeps up on you, and it ends up better than you would think. At least for us.
I think another thing too, which I spoke about in our last video, how much I love and find Japanese culture interesting and how prevalent it is through a lot of anime, of course, with a lot of the creators, authors being Japanese, and how in Ancient Magus Bride, it sort of spotlighted English culture, which was really cool to see in a more Japanese anime art style. So this was sort of along the same lines in that I found it interesting that it was Chinese animation. The main character has a very thick Chinese accent.
I wouldn't say he has an accent. I think he has a speech impediment, which I appreciated.
Well, I think it's both. I think
I don't
he's the English-speaking Chinese person and that he has a lisp, which for a main character, it's not often that you see
not often. You don't see it. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, you don't see, well, any kind of impediment of any kind. Like, yeah, you might have like a cool blind samurai or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's a disability that you can make it quote-unquote cool. So I thought that was sort of different and refreshing. And I like that it sort of brought some Chinese elements into it, Chinese food and stuff like that. I, a lot of times, really, really appreciate the art in anime. Even anime like Attack on Titan, which is absolutely not for me, as interesting and intriguing as the storyline is for it. The animation is absolutely beautiful, though. There are some breathtaking scenes just in the first episode, and that's something I love about anime, is when some of the art, especially if you look at like Studio Ghibli, literally just the backgrounds are magical, beautiful pieces of art where you can see an artist's soul throughout that movie. This is not that.
No, it's not.
It's not that.
I feel like its animation is appropriate to its taking itself not too seriously, being goofy, but having its serious moments. It's very good at animating for that.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be this beautiful, like, just, I don't know. I don't want to say aesthetic. Yeah, it's not supposed to be aesthetically pleasing per se, because the whole thing is not like that.
It's very simple. Like, if animation is on a scale and you have the anime that's way on the end where the shading and highlights and the everything is almost like realism, you have that on one side of the scale, and then you have cartoons, what we as Americans think of cartoons, on the other end. This anime is definitely slid towards the cartoon end of things. You know?
As I said, it lends to it. It lends to the attitude it's trying to
Yeah, definitely. It
portray,
supports, I feel like, the mood of the entire show, and the angle that they're coming at you from is a very laid back sort of attitude, like you said.
Okay, so by the end of season 3, what did we think?
By the end of season 3, I was on the edge of the couch, heart rate elevated, like, I need to know what happened. So it's actually been killing me not to watch season 4, but Nair asked me to wait and do this since she recommended it off the first 3 seasons.
So we could be on the same page.
Yeah. And I'm not good about on the spoilers. So,
But you guys know how much I love spoilers.
Yeah, not at all. So yeah, by the end of season 3, like Nair said, you delve into the background of all these characters, which is something I really appreciate. I really love being thrown into a story and then gaining appreciation and understanding for different people and realizing that they all have their own stuff going on. They all have their own past. Even characters that you would think are pretty insignificant. You see that pretty often in anime, but...
some more than others.
Yeah, I think, like, My Hero Academia, you see it a lot in that.
One Piece. Big time. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so I really appreciated it in this anime as well. Especially the main character, because you realize right away in the first episode, his best friend's a chicken. Okay, I know it sounds weird, but like I said, give it a chance. Give it 5 episodes.
It's very much only an anime, kind of anime, or donghua.
And that's where the fantasy comes in, because, you know, I love fantasy. I don't typically like watching shows, animes, books. If it could happen tomorrow in real life to someone, I'm not interested. I need something to pull me away from all this. So if it's his best friend being a chicken, you know what I mean? And them fighting a giant chicken, then that's what it is. But I like that it goes from those simple, funny, comedic scenes and then can suddenly flip. And even the animation gets more serious, if you know what I mean.
Exactly. The animation definitely goes with what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, the animators definitely take that scale and they are mobile with it. They don't feel locked into a certain style. I mean, it all matches and it's very, very cohesive, but that is a free range scale for them, from the cartoon to the serious anime. When it's showing things about his past and everything, I'm trying not to spoil too much, but...
When he does Ash and turns his hat backwards and gets all serious...
Oh my god.
I'm serious.
Pokemon! Woo! Anyway, so... Yeah, I really, really enjoy what they've done with that, and I think definitely that it was purposeful. It's one of those things where it takes you by surprise that you become so invested in these characters and that you can feel so fondly for a goofy, lispy, beef offal soup. And that's awful, O-F-F-A-L, not awful, A-W.
F-U-L.
I wasn't going to spell it because I can. A-W-F-U-L. Soup seller and barbershop owner. And his main weapon is a pair of scissors.
Which, again, only in anime. Only
in anime. And that's another thing about the Chinese culture being thrown in. I really liked that a lot of it has to do with chi. Mm-hmm. Which I think you see a lot more.
Or is it ki?
I think they say chi. But yeah, that's what he uses to control his scissors, to be able to make them fly through the air and everything like he does. You just don't think that you would get so attached to him and his story and be rooting for him the way that you do. And very awkward with people, like, not even in that classic anime way where, oh, he's the awkward kid and watch him make friends because he doesn't understand humans. It's not even awkward in that way. It's a very natural, awkward, goofy, awkward with girls, and of course...
Trying to be sexy.
Yes, of course, he gets a crush on a female assassin, very serious type.
Who's very much
character.
trying to kill him.
Yes, very much. I don't know, he's just the ultimate underdog, and you root for him, and he goes from making beef stew and giving people horrible, horrible haircuts.
It works out,
to
usually.
To you finding out about his past and that he was actually this badass
Assassin.
guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like he fell so far from grace, but he's actually happier now. And I really like that theme. That at what point in his life other people would consider, in his world, the height of his life, he was the least happy. And he had nothing. And he had nothing to fight for, nothing to protect. And no reason to do... I mean, I don't want to say he doesn't have any reason to do what he's doing, but...
Not a real reason. Not a deep, profound reason.
Yeah, a shallow reason. And to losing everything, forgetting everything, his identity, and all of that, and becoming best friends with a chicken, and having this simple life on an island where they're just trying to make enough money to afford meat dumplings to eat for dinner that night.
Meeting people, falling in love, making friends.
And that's the life he wants, and that's the life he chose, and I think it's a great lesson that we can apply. You know what I mean? Like, I just wasn't expecting it, you know?
Yeah, it's
I
way
wasn't
deeper
expecting
than you
it
think.
at all to sort of creep up on me like that.
So what would you rate it out of 10?
I would definitely give it like an 8.5. I really, really enjoyed it a lot.
All right, guys, I think that's all we've got for you. And that was Nair Recommends Scissor 7, and we would say it was a success.
Definitely a success story. Go root for the underdog.
Bye-bye now.